My name is Elise Easley, and I'm here today to talk about my PBL I created, Tour Our Town. This PBL was created for a 4th grade class specializing in English language arts, but it's also very cross-curricular. Introducing the unit, students will work in groups to take on the role of community ambassador, tour guide, marketer, and planner. So they're taking on many of these real-life jobs and roles through completing the project. They will have to find landmarks in their own to showcase. So they will have a chance to choose, what will I be including in my project and what will I leave out? What is important to me? They will then research these landmarks. So they will actively be looking on computers, through books, any source that they choose to find that information. They will then write an informative piece about each landmark. All of these tie back to 4th grade standards. After writing an informative piece, they will create a route for their tour and choose whether the tour will be a walking, bicycling, or bus tour. So this will be based on the distance of the tour. If it is a shorter tour and the landmarks are closer together, we will want to obviously choose walking. If it's further apart, I will encourage them to choose a bus tour. They will then create a piece of digital media to go along with the tour and also a narrative. They have money freedom in this. They can choose to do a digital booklet, a podcast. The opportunity for them to choose is really endless. And then they will create a presentation for the tour and present it to the community and the Chamber of Commerce. So that will be their public audience for this PBL. The driving question is, how can we encourage others to support and visit our community? Well, this is a very broad and general driving question. I really want to take the focus and narrow it in on creating a tour of the community. This could go many different directions, I believe, and it can lead to other things, but for the purpose of this project, I want to lead it towards those walking, bicycling, or bus tours of the community in order to have them really have that opportunity to research and pick out those landmarks that are important to them and their tour. This unit will take place at Marvin Wright Elementary in Spring Hill, Tennessee. The school can consist of 611 students and a staff ratio of 16:1. 31% of the students receive free and reduced lunch. Test results from 2015. We are missing a year there due to last year being no testing. They indicated that 51% of students were proficient in reading and 64% of students were proficient in math. And then we have a little picture here of our sample group. Learning goals. For this unit, there are several goals tied, and having these goals is so important. So we set up our students to achieve something specific, and they know also what they are working for. The first goal is to create a guided bicycling, walking, or bus tour of the local community. The next goal is create a piece of digital media to accompany the tour. I decided to kind of point them towards a digital booklet, maybe creating a sway, but if they come up with another idea, that could definitely be a possibility. I also want students to be able to speak knowledgeably about landmarks in the community. So they're not only researching something, but something that's meaningful to them. Maybe it's something that they've driven past every day and they had no clue about. This is their chance to go ahead and learn about that. They will also encourage others to come visit the community. This ties back to that public audience, having a purpose and presenting it. They will write a detailed, informative writing piece. That ties back to one of the very important 4th grade standards and improving those writing skills. They will also present their work to the community in a clear and concise way. So we're building on those public speaking skills, having the ability to stand up in front of a crowd and present themselves clearly and in a nice way. Several assessments will be given throughout this unit. The first time is a written assessment. Students will complete a weekly written quiz that will test on the skills that are being reinforced throughout the unit. There will also be daily peer assessments. Well, they'll get to rank their group members on how they're doing. So we're holding every single person accountable in this project. There will also be a self-assessment they will complete every day. So they're holding their group members accountable, but also themselves. So are they getting in there and really putting in their best effort, or is there things that we need to improve on? There will also be notebook observations. Students will be taking notes in their OneNote notebooks on Office 365. And I will go ahead and I will check those regularly and make sure that they have the notes that they are supposed to have in there and that they're gaining the proper information and we're keeping on track. And we will also have a performance assessment. That will be the final project, and that will be graded through a rubric that students will help to create. And last, the presentation to their public audience. Students will present their tours to the local Chamber of Commerce. We will also invite the community and family members, so everyone is really there to see this great effort that's been put into this project. Voice and choice. Students will take part in really guiding this project on their own. They will be able to create the final rubric right from the beginning. Notice that same rubric they will be using throughout. They will also have a choice of group members. Who do they want to work with and why? In the beginning of the project, they will send me an email with the top 5 people they would like in their group and why they want that person. So they have to back it up. It's not just, let's choose our best friends. They will also be able to choose what landmarks they are going to include in their tour and the format. And we kind of just talked about that. Are they going to do a digital booklet or a sway or a podcast? They will have that digital media choice. They will have a narrative style choice. How do they want to present the narrative that will guide their tour? They will also get to choose their presentation format. Do they want to do an iMovie? Do they want to get there and talk and just have a PowerPoint or a Prezi or a sway? It's up to them. For instructional strategies and inquiry, it will have direct instruction and modeling throughout in the form of mini lessons. Many of the skills used in this unit are repeat skills, so we would not be teaching them for the first time, but we would definitely want to go ahead and reinforce those. There also will be modeling done to make expectations clear to all students. So we don't have anyone saying, I don't know what to do, or I completely forgot that. I want to make sure from the beginning that students understand what is expected and that they know exactly what to do. There will also be small group work through completing the project, and each member will have a specific role and be held accountable. There will also, like we said, be the peer and self-assessments throughout. And finally, problem solving and inquiry. The driving question will begin and lead inquiry, but that's definitely not the end. I think as they research, more and more questions will come up. They also will get to decide what type of tour is appropriate, so that's definitely tied back to problem solving, what to include and why, time management, and keeping the audience engaged through their presentation. How are we going to do this? They'll get to choose all of that. For technology, this project is very technology rich. We will be using a lot of the Office 365 apps. That is what's available through the district. And that includes Outlook email, OneNote, the calendar app to plan everything, Sway to present, PowerPoint, and there's a few more on there they might want to use as well. I definitely don't want to limit students in technology, so we will keep that open. Additionally, they will use iPads to research, to edit an iMovie if that's what they choose to use. Any other various apps they may have on the iPad, I'm definitely open to incorporating those. And then also EduCreations if they want to make some type of presentation through there where you're using the digital whiteboard and recording over. Additionally, they will use Edmodo for self and peer evaluations throughout. So those daily self-assessments and peer assessments will take place on there. No paper needed. There also will be available to use Photoshop or Illustrator if they choose to use that maybe for their digital booklet. And also the smartboard will be used for instruction, and then Prezi is just another option for presenting as well. So I really want to keep the options open for technology in this project. For instructional aids and resources, one of the anchor texts that I will use to kind of get this project rolling is Last Stop on Market Street. It's by Matt De La Pina, and it's an anchor text that will give an example of a city tour narrative. So maybe some of my students are not sure what a city tour is, or really the narrative that would go along with it, and this book will be a great way to kind of get that started. Additionally, a few days ago, I will also use A Walk in New York by Salvatore Rubino, and that is also another text that will provide an example of a detailed city tour and narrative, so they know what that sounds like, what's expected, and what they should add in theirs. Students will also be tasked with finding their own text lessons through researching their landmarks. I think this is so important that I'm not just feeding my students where to get their information or their text, but they really have to go seek it out themselves and use that problem solving. Is this a good source of information? Is this credible, or is this not? Do I need to look somewhere else? For formative assessment and revision, the unit will begin with a pre-assessment to determine student strengths and areas of development. So that pre-assessment will guide the complete unit. That will let me know, what do students need to work on, where do we need reinforcement, what mini lessons should be used, what are we good at, what do we really not need to spend time on. Assessment will be given again in the middle and end of the unit. So we will repeat this over and over again, tracking data to ensure that we have growth throughout. The project will be assessed using the student creative rubric. I will also make sure that throughout this project, students are taking out that rubric and constantly looking back and reinforcing, what do they need? How can I fulfill all of the expectations? Students will provide feedback through peer and self-assessments. Once again, going back to accountability, what am I supposed to be doing? Am I doing it right? Do I need to pick it up a little bit? Am I pulling the weight of the whole group, or am I being a good group member? And then daily conferences and opportunities for revision. So during this group work time, I will be going through conferencing with students, making sure that they have all the resources and support that they need, and giving them opportunities to refine, reflect, and really have the best possible outcome in their project. For our public audience, since there is no Board of Tourism in this town, we are going to go right to the Chamber of Commerce. And this really ties back to bringing in business and tourism money into the area and supporting those local businesses. So, and also the local community. Maybe there's people in the community that don't know about these landmarks, and this would give them an opportunity to educate and encourage them to go visit and spend money in their community. Students will present their town tours in both groups, educating them and then encouraging. Maybe the Chamber of Commerce will want to use this as a money-making opportunity to use as a tourism booster and really get people to come to the area. The tours could increase revenue for small businesses and really help, and this is just a really important life skill. And that is the end of my presentation. I really think this would be a great project to not only use with fourth graders, but also to use with older students. You could definitely add another element and make it a little more challenging, or we could use it with younger students and maybe take out some of those more sophisticated elements. Okay, thank you.